us. And we now have with us Muslim bin Imran, who is an international relations expert based in Kuala Lumpur, but a Palestinian by origin. Thank you so much, Muslim, for being with us. What do you make of President Trump's foreign policy? Is this a continuation of what is generally called the blob inside the Beltway, or is this something completely chaotic?
American foreign policy, I would say, is a continuation of the previous administration's foreign policy in some respects, but Trump has certainly added his flavor. President Trump's latest decision to pull troops out of Syria is a sign of the continuation of Obama's retreat from hot zones around the world. The U.S. hegemony, I would say, is in decline, and that is not new. Obama's policy wanted to concentrate on some spots in the world, the Pacific in particular. Therefore, he started to reduce his administration's engagement in different parts of the world, including the Middle East. Trump is speeding up this American retreat, and it certainly comes from his personal views in the first place, because the American establishment is not exactly excited about President Trump's acceleration of their decline. President Trump comes with an ultra-realist perspective towards politics.
No, but hold on, Muslim, hold on. If Trump comes with an ultra-realist perspective, then he should be very close to what the blob says, or what the blob has been saying in terms of the U.S. grand strategy since post-World War II. But what we have seen, and I was just discussing this with Professor Keane before you joined us, that on the one hand, he says, I want to get out of these wars. Okay, fine. But on the other hand, he gets out of this JCPOA with Iran. He moves the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem. And the second thing is something that is going to destabilize rather than stabilizing the Middle East. So we see these disparate strands in his approach.
Okay, by ultra-realist, I was referring to his push to eliminate idealism from American foreign policy. Trump, the U.S. foreign policy has usually had two contending paradigms.
One the Wilsonian and the Jacksonian.
One is for propagating U.S. ideals, even through military power. Another is what Trump is doing now. He is looking at national interests from a very narrow perspective. He is alienating his allies, and that actually, again, shows that he is an ultra-realist. He does not care much about what his allies think as long as he gets cash. His economic policy is a mercantilist policy, and the trade war with China is a proof of that. He wants to create jobs in the U.S. at the cost of his alliances internationally, and this has certainly alienated many of his of the U.S. traditional allies. You look at his policy in the Korean Peninsula. Look at his policy towards some of his allies in the Middle East. Trump is certainly unique in his blind support for the Israeli occupation. Other American administrations have always supported Israeli occupation, but Trump is giving more, I would say, frankness to what the American administrations have always wanted to do when it comes to the case of Israel. But in general, what Trump is doing is a continuation of President Obama's retreat from the Middle East.
Are you saying that
it's only getting faster?
Okay, so are you saying that you find continuity in Trump's policy in relation to what happened before? Simply that Trump is a little more brazen? And are you also saying, by arguing this, that Trump is not chaotic, there is a method to his madness?
Okay, if you look at the big picture, there is continuity. If you look at the trend, U.S. hegemony, U.S. power is in decline. The U.S. used to be the sole the sole unipolar power in this world, and this power is in decline. There are other powers that are now challenging this American status. So when Trump pulls his troops out of Syria, he is only, he's only endorsing this trend. He's actually proving to the world that the U.S. power is in decline. But when you look into details, there are certainly differences, at least in the style. Trump's style is very bold, very, you can call it chaotic, but I would rather call it frank. Trump does not have the same complex calculations that the American establishment has. The influence of the lobbies, the calculation of America's soft and hard power in world politics. Trump does not have any of that. So when he decides to pull out of Syria, he basically wants to get things done in a fast manner. And this, again, I would say, exposes America's hypocrisy in many of world affairs. They created many problems
interstate
in the Middle East and other places.
Interstate relations are all about double speak and, of course, interest. But thank you so much, Muslim bin Imran, for speaking with us. We now have